Hi, this is TAS. I hope everyone is having a great day. I wanted to just come in and do a quick TAS moment. I have been reflecting on the year that was 2024. I cannot imagine that we've gone from January to December in really almost the blink of an eye. January came in, what is it they say, like a roaring lion? And then here we are. When I think about this past year, the first thing that I want to say to you is thank you so much for all of your support. There's no way that I could do what I do without your support. I think about my audience all the time, trying to figure out how I can say what needs to be said in a manner that makes sense. So I'm constantly rephrasing, rewriting, trying to change how I convey the message that I know that God has given me to convey to his people. So I have to start by saying, even though January came in or 2024 came in like a Russian wind or lion, it is because of the audience that I'm still here. And I thank you for all of your support. When I look at what 2024 has brought, it's brought many lessons. And as I always say when I write a book, it seems like I'm always living that book. I think God has me to write it, and then he has me to live it, so that I can authentically say, yeah, crap does happen. And even though it happens, we can rebound from it. This year, though, started off with the launch of my show with my sister, Real Talk with TAS and Angelia. I had to pull her to the line, but she enjoys being at the line. But I always knew that she would, because when she and I are talking, there's something magical that happens. He says, "For two or more joined in his presence." It's something that happens, and it's like all these nuggets are dropped. They come from her, they come from me, and that was the reason why I wanted you guys to be able to listen in on our conversation. It's not scripted, it's unfiltered, it's life. And you know, she's one age and I'm another age, so you get two different perspectives about life subjects. And so I'm so grateful that there's been a warm reception for Real Talk with TAS and Angelia. You get a chance to see some of my humor. I love songs. I love talking in song titles, song lyrics, but I never know when I'm going to do it. I love R. Kelly. I'm sorry, folks. Music is music, and the man is very talented. So you hear me always talking about the sparkle. You know, 2 years ago, promise this was all I heard. Wait a minute. But I think the reason why I say that it resonates with me is because if you had promises for 2 years, you got to finally make a decision. Whether those are promises that you're making to yourself or promises that someone else is making to you, you have to make a decision, because we cannot be stuck, because this world that we live in is really advancing quickly. And if we don't get on board, we're going to be left behind. And I don't just mean with the technology, just going to be left behind, and you're going to wonder what happened. So I love the fact that I get a chance to share my time with Angelia with you. And again, thank you for receiving us so well. Also, 2024 brought the next season of Transform with TAS, where I take my cooking segments and combine them with my interviews, and you get a chance to have food, and you have words that hopefully enrich your soul, mind, body. And so I thank all my guests who have been along with me on that journey. Also this year, it had been in the works for quite some time, I launched my Talk with TAS podcast. Again, I thank you for the listeners. It's my way of trying to meet the audience where they are. Everyone doesn't have time to actually sit and watch something, but they may be able to listen. And if they can get a nugget from my guests, then I believe that I've done what I need to do. So thank you so much for supporting the Talk with TAS podcast. Also, the summer brought the release of my latest book, Dr. TAS Speaks, Empower Your Journey, 31-Day Meditation. Now, that book is a book that I'm living still also, but it was a book that I understand now that I had to write. You know, life has a way of trying to knock us down, and it does. But it's up to us to determine if we're going to stay down or we're going to get up. That book is all about how you can get up. You can get back up again. You know, it's not always easy. It's not. And I think the way that we learn to get up is by doing the work. Well, that book's about doing the work, you know. You got to do the work. So you've got affirmations, you've got prompts, you've got a phrase that I say to center yourself with, because sometimes we have to be centered. Because if you're like me, you're multitasking. And they say there really isn't such thing as multitasking, but we're doing all this different stuff at the same time. But you have to focus. Because only when we begin to focus can we hear that quiet voice that was speaking when the people were telling Job to curse God and die. When all his friends came and said you had to have done something wrong for you to be in this situation. Well, God was talking to Job. But you see, Job couldn't hear it. And so we have to focus in order to hear from that higher power. For me, it's God. For you, it may be something else. But you have to focus. So that means you have to remove all those external noises that are preventing you from hearing. So that when you hear, your mind, your sight, and your heart, everything can connect. Then you know how to move. So empowering your journey, it's a gift. It's a gift that's still giving to me. It's not meant to be done in any particular order. It's about what you need at that moment in time. And understand what you need is going to be different from what somebody else needs. So if you got the book or you're thinking about getting the book, it's your book. It's your journey. Empower yourself. Don't let other people try to empower you. Because, you know, if they empower you, how can I say this and be Miss Laney's granddaughter? Y'all going to hear me talk about Miss Laney. That's my grandmother. And be Miss Laney's granddaughter. When you can't stand on your own 2 feet and you depend upon other people to tell you that you're great, to make you feel good, as Halle Berry said in Monster Ball, when they no longer tell you that you're great, when they no longer make you feel good, where are you at? You got to empower yourself. You got to know for yourself that you're good, that you're worthy, that you are, that you should receive good things in life. That you're worthy of that you have value, that you bring value to this thing we call life. You have to know that for yourself. You can't depend on external people to tell you that. You have to know it. Thank you, Dr. Velma, for joining me. You have to know it for yourself. Because like I said, they'll throw that card in a minute and they're gone. And where are you? So, Dr. TAS Speaks. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. Even with the blog that I launched on Pathos this year, I had been working on my blog a long time, guys, and life just kept getting in the way of it. And finally, I said no more, because that's another audience of probably about 100 million, I think it is, readers who need to hear that. I was looking at my metrics today because I was writing something else, and I was like, well, let me see which article has resonated the most. And it was the one about the winter solstice. But my sister, Anjay, will get a kick out of this. When I was looking at the metrics, a person in Ireland had been reading my stuff. Now, Ireland, if I'm not mistaken, when I determined that I was going to live my life, after I thought that I had a mass that they didn't know what it was, and I said to God that I was going to live my life. And the first place I went abroad was Ireland. And so when I saw that this morning, I thought, how fitting, because we're getting ready to transition into 2025, and I've been thinking about 2024. That Ireland jumps out when I look at my metrics. New beginnings. That's what Ireland means for me. It's a new beginning. It's a time for rekindling who I am. And as my publicist says, let TAS be TAS. And I said, can I really be TAS? He said, yes. I said, okay, now that's going to be Miss Laney's granddaughter. And sometimes Miss Laney's granddaughter is a bit mischievous. Sometimes she's a little too blunt, as Miss Gloria, that's my mama said. She said that to me years ago. You're too blunt. You're too blunt. And I said to her mother, I'm working in medicine. We say words as they are. We don't say such and such. We call it as it is because we have to speak the proper language. So when you're used to speaking the proper language about medical things, I said about everything, and I'm just to the point. So I get to be TAS. And some folks may say, well, you haven't been TAS? I have. But I've held TAS back. And I held TAS back for many reasons. But the biggest reason is the same umbrella, regardless of who, what, why, when, and where, is unfortunately, there was still a part of me who didn't want my light, as someone said today in an interview, to interfere with their light. Well, God made all of us to be a light unto the world. Think about it as if it was those talents. Now, we each can choose how we're going to let our light shine. This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. I'm from the South, guys. I'm going to let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. That's a song. It's up to each of us to determine how we're going to let our light shine. If you want your light to be at a 5 watt rather, and somebody else wants their light to be at 120 volt, you can't be mad at them because they want to be 120 and you've chosen to be a 5. You had the same opportunities. You had the same opportunities, but you chose not to use your opportunities. Well, I got to let TAS be TAS, and I'm going to have to shine. Not in a braggadocious way. What I mean is doing the things that matter to me, making the impacts that I want to make in our world. That's what we're here for, to make the world a better place. I shouldn't have to not do what I have been told to do because someone else is going to feel some kind of way. Well, you're just going to have to feel some kind of way. Because I feel some kind of way all the time. But it ain't about nobody else's light. It's called life. And we can't tiptoe around other people going into 2025. The world is changing. And there's so many things that are going to happen that I wish I could share with you. But he hasn't told me I can share that. Oh, perhaps he will. Maybe that's another reason why I've been crying so much. Been crying because of things that I know are possibly to happen. Been crying because there are other people who are crying or who want to cry but don't feel that they can because of what society, their family, their friends, their significant other, whomever is going to say. Well, you know, you shouldn't worry about that. Because one of the things I am very sure of, I'm not sure of many things in life, but this I think I'm sure of. People are going to do what they want to do, regardless of what you think. So when are you going to get a clue and do what you want to do, regardless of what they think? Chosen pen. Thought enough of my story stronger. This is my story. This is the story of a little girl who was told that she was the ugliest little black girl that my light, bright, almost white, reddish cousin had ever seen. I was the ugliest little black girl she'd ever seen, which means, of course, I shouldn't be a blonde because I'm the ugliest little black girl, and black people are not blondes. And we know this is processed hair. It's permed. Excuse me, my hair is not permed. It is dyed, and I'm natural. So, you know, I'm not supposed to be a blonde as the ugliest little black girl. But fast forward, you know, I'm a blonde and I'm the ugliest little black girl. But I thank her for saying that. Because this little black girl knew that she had a story to tell. Knew that her story could help liberate other individuals who have stories to tell. Their story may not be my story. My story is one of incest. It's one of police violence against a Vietnam veteran. It's losing my sight. It's being bullied by my peers being bullied by older people because I was different. Was that not okay? He made all the stars in the sky. He made all of us. Our DNA is different. Can I not be different? Must I fit into your expectations, your idea of who I am? Can you just like me for me? Well, it's been a good year. So I've learned that, no, people don't always like you for who you are. They like components of you. And that's what I infer. And in some places, it may be explicit in the book. Not even understanding when I wrote this book that was part of it. That people wanted to fit me into a mold that was not me. Well, Chosen Pen saw something in this book called Stronger, How Overcoming Life's Adversity Can Push You Into Your Purpose. And they stated, they awarded, they recognized, whatever word you want to use, this book as the best in nonfiction. I can see myself in a room that, my sister will get this, but I can say it correctly. I can see myself in the den that I think my mother calls the living room now. But I can see myself in the den where the fireplace is, talking to my mother all those years ago about wanting to write a book. Not knowing what that book would be, but knowing that I had to help other people because I had to crack the code. Why is it that some people are able to manage things better than other people? And this book was the result of that. Those days of talking to my mom, even after I left home, about that. And so I am so honored that Chosen Pen recognized my book, Stronger, How Overcoming Life's Adversities Can Push You Into Your Purpose, as the best in nonfiction for 2024 at their inaugural Chosen Pen Award event. And that means a lot. There will be others that will be recognized. But they chose my book to be the first one recognized in this category. And that means a lot to me, my family, individuals who support me, who know my struggles, who have prayed for me over the years, who have tried to help me to sidestep landmines that I didn't sidestep. That means a lot to them. So I thank Chosen Pen. I want to end with this. A lot of people don't like to do reflection. And I get it. Because when you start thinking about stuff, sometimes you might have to examine it and determine if you could have done something different. And sometimes the results of what we find, it's a bitter pill to swallow. However, if you're going to move forward in this thing we call life, I believe that you have to look at your circumstances, examine them honestly, determine what your role is in whatever has occurred in your life or has not occurred. Then look for the silver lining, the thing that you can learn from. Then learn from it. You don't, for me, I don't look on it as a negative. I look on it as a positive, because if I can learn from that, I'm better for it. But if I choose not to ever reflect and just go through life, flitting from this place to that place, never finding my place, then I've done myself a disservice. And for those of us who are Christian or who might be spiritual, then I've done Christ a disservice. Because he came and he died. He gave up his life for us, for me, so that I could have life and have it more abundantly. And if I can't even reflect, honestly reflect, and then make decisions based upon what I see that can improve my life on earth and the lives of those that I am to impact, then I've not done what I should do. I haven't done what I should do. I failed myself. I failed those that I was supposed to impact. And more importantly, I won't say the word failed for him, but I'm going to say I've disappointed Christ. That's what I believe. I disappointed him because we have free will. I talk about that will and obligation or free will in my book, Transformation. Like I said, you see, I'm still living this stuff. Free will or will and obligation. We got free will. It's up to us to decide what we're going to do. So if you want 2025 to be the best year ever, you might want to do a little reflection. You still got time, and even if you're reflecting in 2025, that's okay. As long as you reflect, see things as they are, don't beat yourself up, then make a plan and implement it. That's all we can do. That's all we can do. This has been a TAS moment. Thank you so much for your support. In 2024, I look forward to working with everybody in 2025 and hearing about your successes. I know that I've got some friends who've got a lot of great things happening. I've got family members that have a lot of great things happening, friends. You know, I am looking at 2025 being a good year. But I want you to be mindful of the signs that are going to be there and that are already there. Be mindful and govern yourself accordingly. And remember, before you take care of someone else, make sure you take care of yourself first. Bye now and Happy New Year.